Good morning to you. This is the South African Morning. We bring you this now. Our senior reporter Aviwe Mtila is still in Vosloorus at the Chris Hani Mall, of course, tracking developments around today's events. Aviwe, good to have you back. What do you have for us? What do you see there?
Go. Well, the police have arrived, police Nyala, after hundreds of community members were basically ransacking the Chris Hani Mall. They're actually talking to some of the people here as they were trying to even run away just across the field. There are hundreds of them that were inside this mall. Now someone's being arrested this very moment.
You're under arrest. You're under arrest, my brother. Get out. I must come and beg you, man. 10. You're under arrest. I must beg you. Don't you get crime in the country. We must be lenient to you. Must be lenient to you. Come on. I cannot be lenient to you. You get crime. Come.
Police not being lenient to this. A Vanza driver doing a crime is told. Taken inside the police Nyala. Rubber bullets still ongoing this very moment. Hundreds of community members, tear gas even been thrown across the road here as this gentleman is being arrested. You can see them across the Chris Hani Mall. Tear gas being disposed by the police here as hundreds of community members were flocking from the Chris Hani Mall with goods, basically ransacking the mall itself. An incident that was happening just some 5 minutes ago. Police just arrived now, and we see even further up the road a further contingent of police is coming in this very moment. We see another police Nyala bringing in reinforcements to the situation at the Chris Hani Mall in Vosloorus at this very moment. Police trying to calm the situation at this very moment as the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department joins the South African Police Service outside the Vosloorus Chris Hani Mall in trying to calm what was a volatile situation. You can see some of the goods in the various cars here, even suffering a flat tire, this car, with those goods inside the cars. The cars have been even parked sporadically. No direction whatsoever as the police just search the goods that are inside here. The car, this a particular Polo. They're even opening the boot now, trying to search some of what is in here. How did you find out about the situation?
No comment.
So they're taking the alcohol from the car now. Taking it out at this very moment as we saw hundreds of community members inside the Chris Hani Mall. It was a brazen looting basically, where they were just going in, taking whatever they'd wanted essentially, up until some 5 or so minutes ago when the police came in. South African Police Service, Nyala's tear gas disposed, as well as the EMPD joining in, and Nyala from them as well. Hundreds of community members essentially that has left this very moment, ran across, some of them with the goods in hand, but you can see there's even one lady still trying to cross here with some of those goods, knickknacks, I'm assuming, and even a gogo carrying a plastic there, leaving the scene as this very moment across the Chris Hani Mall. Situation happening at Vosloorus, as we've been seeing even yesterday, the incidences that have been happening in some of the 5 shopping centers that were ransacked, as we saw it happen ourselves yesterday. Police playing a cat and mouse game with the community. Wherever they'd moved to, police coming, they'd moved to a different area. It seems now the target is the Chris Hani Mall. I'm going to try walk across the street and bring you what's happening inside the mall itself. As you can see, cars have been left in the middle of the road, some of them windows broken, going into the mall. But the police have essentially now flocked into the mall as well, searching from one shop to the other. We're going into the mall at this very moment to try and bring you what's happening inside. As you can see, maize meal and some of the groceries here as we move into the mall, with the police there in numbers. South African Police Service accompanied by the Ekurhuleni Metro Police, as they're trying to contain a situation of the riots, basically the criminal elements that we've been seeing in the last few days of brazen looting, community members basically stealing, because it is what it is, theft essentially. As you can see, this Chris Hani Mall, from one shop to the other, totally ransacked, well, as they were continuing with the lootings throughout the majority of this morning.
Yeah. Aviwe, as you continue walking there and just showing us those visuals, I just wonder, do we know what time exactly the looting perhaps started? Because we know in other parts of KZN and Gauteng that the looting still continued last night, even during the President's address, after the President's address. But I'm just keen to know, in particularly where you are, do we have a sense of what time this looting started and when the police was alerted?
Tumelo, it must have been early morning. We came across it by coincidence as we were heading to Kahlehong, where a mall essentially burning from last night, where the community member there was also cleaning out that mall, burning that mall essentially. So we were heading there, but on our way we saw the brazen looting that was happening at this particular mall, and it seems like it was happening from the early hours of the day. As you can see, some of the stock from various shops still just lying around here. You'd go from one shop to the next. The Roots, the butchery itself, still has some stock. But Tumelo, judging by the stock inside, I can determine that it mustn't have been that long, because normally if it was long enough, let's say if it was for an hour or so, this shop would have been completely empty. I'm just going to move along and see the other shops as well. So I'm guessing this looting at the Chris Hani Mall mustn't have been for long, given that there is still quite a lot of stock in some of the shops here. I want to see what's happening in other shops around here as we try to bring you the visuals of the looting that we just came across at Chris Hani Mall as we were moving along essentially to a mall that was burned down in Kahlehong. Some of the brazen criminal elements that we've been seeing over the last number of days, you can see over here there are a number of people that have been apprehended. Security, police, EMPD, SAPS, all joining in here. As we can see, a number of people laying on the ground here. These are the ones that couldn't get away, as the hundreds of community members of Vosloorus left this Chris Hani Mall. You can see about 30 or so community members that have been apprehended here. I'm assuming they'll be arrested, taken to a police station, and will be suspects in the looting that's been ongoing here. You heard the president saying that there will be tough measures taken to those that continue with these sporadic lootings, the criminal elements of the riots that we have been seeing here.
Yeah. Sure, Avi, we're seeing those visuals. I just wonder, at this point, if it was worth it, lying down there, facing arrest by the police as well, being apprehended, having a criminal, charge against your name. You're saying that number could be approximately close to 30, and I could see members of the SAPS just making sure that they stand next to those who are suspects. And as, of course, you move around there, I mean, I'm also seeing just a car just behind. I'm not sure if it's a member of the emergency services. Has there been any report of either a fire that has been seen, any, injuries that have been reported so far? Because we know there's been part of the repercussions of looting in the past couple of days. People have lost their lives. Shops have been burned down. Some have been injured, to a point whereby they might need medical services. What do we know about that?
Tumelo, I'm going to try to bring in one of the securities here just to find out exactly when this started. Lompulu, thank you for joining us at the eNCA. Abantu bafike nini la leyo lento iqale nini?
Buti lento kahle kahle ilokhu iqale nje kusuka izolo emini. Kodwa la emoli iqale phakathi nobusuku asazi ukuthi kwenzakalani kahle kahle. Mina nje nginenkinga njengoba ngumsebenzi nje ukuthi kumele ngenze njani uma ngiqala ngithi ngizosiza ikhaya lami, ngisiza izingane zami. Angazi ngizokwenza njani njengamanje umsebenzi wami ungiphelele. Bamoshile kakhulu la ngisebenza khona.
And then lana bafika uthi baqala ebusuku lana kule mall or around what time?
Yeah, baqala ebusuku around 1-2 lapho ebusuku.
Okay, still more people, as you can see, Tumelo, are coming through here. Some of them very young, concerning the youth part of this, as they're also being brought in here with the people that will be arrested. Concerning, of course, even mothers that are coming through to join the people. It's sporadic stealing from community members. every age group, as we've even seen the elderly, your grandmothers, abogogo, nabomkhulu, that have been part of the brazen criminal elements that we've been seeing. Across that side, there's still a bit of action, chasing some of those that are trying to run away. This very moment, screams of Vala as they try to chase them down around the KFC. Oh, one is turning away, being shot at with rubber bullets this very moment, firing even in close proximity as they try to get them. One has been he's stopping dead here by the KFC. He's asking us to go back. Remo. Oh, even pointing rubber bullets towards us now, which is a bit concerning because you can see that we're clearly media. But one of the gentlemen apprehended at this very moment, it looks like private security, not the South African Police Service or the EMPD. Private security here also brought in to take control of the situation, as we saw two young gentlemen trying to run away here, but quickly apprehended. But what looks like private security. Even further down, there is a bit more action. We're trying to run across now to bring you what's happening that side.
Situation there, of course, as the looting seems to be continuing. I mean, what do you see just from where you stand right now?
You can see a gentleman carrying at least 10 bags to men. You can see the brazen elements of this. It's crime. People just taking as they please. But now, police acting stern here, bringing them across. As we can see, about 20 more coming in with the goods that they have stolen, coming to join the suspects on the ground here, being called in by the police to go down here. You understand? This looks like a joint operation, Tumelo, between the South African Police Service, EMPD, as well as private security, as they take in the remaining people off at the mall here. Hundreds have already escaped from the community members, Tumelo. You can see it's all ages, essentially, from even the young that have been here, part of the community that has been ransacking the Chris Hani Mall here in Vosloorus. Police acting tough at this very moment, as those people still bring in the goods that they've stolen and then told to lie there on the ground. I'm assuming now there's about some 60 people that will be arrested, we assume, and being suspects of the looting that's been happening here. Of course, it's clear that it's away from the original inception of the protests that we saw that were in support of former President Jacob Zuma. Now this is brazen crime. It's riots, it's the community being out of control, taking advantage of the situation. Because I'm sure I'll ask any one of them what did they here for, they won't even tell you about the cause that was initially about this protest. But you can see them being laid down on the ground here by the police. I'm going to try to give you some natural sound from here. One of the guards asking if is there anyone that's still ready meat here. He's hungry. Well, jokingly at the moment, it's a private security, yeah. But if you can see, around 60 people at this stage arrested by the police. Well, assuming that they'll be taken to the police station, if there are even enough vans to accommodate the community members that you see here. We see it's a joint operation between the Ekurhuleni Metro Police, South African Police Service and private security here in the brazen looting that has been happening at Chris Hani Mall. You heard that other gentleman, the security guard, talking about the jobs that are on the line here. He's fearing for his own personal jobs as the community continue to ransack malls around Vosloorus.
Well, I have to come in there. You're raising a point there about whether or not there will be enough capacity in terms of those police vans. I'm asking you now about capacity in terms of manpower, and as far as, the police is concerned, as far as, joint collaboration with, other law enforcement is concerned. Those are a lot of people, Aviwe. And as we continue to stay on those scenes, I mean, we saw so many of them in their tents still coming, made to lie down. And I just wonder if that number continues to rise from where we are looking at approximately 60, looters forced to stay on the ground. Does the police have enough manpower to actually have control of that situation?
Well, that question was answered yesterday, Tumelo, by a special advisor to the Premier, Mkoli Sikayiya. In an interview, I spoke to him exactly here in Vosloorus, where he said that they don't have enough policemen on the ground. Hence, the SANDF been asked to come in at this stage. You can see it clearly. This is only a fraction, hardly a tenth of the looters of that we've seen ourselves here in Chris Hani. There's a majority of them, about 95% of the community members that have been looting this particular mall, that have ran away with a lot of goods, might I add. What I can tell you is most likely going to happen here is they're trying to take them in now. You can see this gentleman even handcuffed by the police. What's most likely going to happen, Tumelo, when the police leave, because these lootings, they happen when the police come in, as I tried to mention a bit earlier on, they play cat and mouse with the police. Whenever they come into a particular area, the community moves into a different area. I'm assuming those community members that we saw across the street here are planning their next move to whichever other center that they haven't ransacked, because the 5 that we've been to in the earlier hours of the morning all have already been cleaned out. This is the one that I'm assuming they have now initially targeted. As you can see, there's even some stock inside here. But what I'm almost certain is going to happen, Tumelo, when the police leave here with these people, if they do have enough manpower in terms of the capabilities to take them in, as soon as they leave, it'll be minutes after that, and you can see the influx of community members come back here, judging, of course, by what we were seeing yesterday at the 5 shopping centers, which were in a radius of about 500 meters around each other. They were playing cat and mouse, moving from one mall to the other, and they could see even when the police manpower wasn't enough, if there was one van, for example, they'd still continue with the looting. Hence, we're seeing now what seems to be a joint operation. It seems like there's still movement going on the other side, as they still bring in more people from the shops here, telling them to move. Seems like they're continuing with the cleaning out and just cleaning up the what is, of course, a crime scene. It is a brazen crime itself. The looting that we've been seeing in and around Vosloorus over the last 2 days while we were here on the ground. But, of course, that continuing even over the weekend.
It's a few minutes after 8 a.m. You are tuned into the South African Morning right here on eNCA DSTV channel 403. Those are live visuals coming from Vosloorus, particularly at the Chris Hani Mall. My colleague, eNCA senior reporter Aviwe Mtila, continuing to show us those images and developments at the mall. We understand, that at this point, more than 60 looters right now apprehended by the police, made to lie down, face down, and I suppose waiting for police vans to take them to the police station. We're going to be staying with those visuals as Aviwe continues to give us images of what could be happening in other parts of the mall. And Aviwe, I see you moving, to what looks like a ShopRite. I see cars, I see so much, dirt and filth on the floor. What do you hear? What do you see on the ground at this point?
Well, it looks like the owners are coming in now to take their stock, especially at this particular pharmacy. I'm going to try and get a word from them just around what's been happening. As you can see, the stock has been taken here, Mama. Thank you. Well, thanks, and you.
I'm good.
I'm seeing you taking the stock at this particular pharmacy. What's happening?
Because there's been so much looting. When we got a word that our pharmacy has not been broken into as yet, we decided let's salvage whatever we can salvage. Yeah, but otherwise it's bad.
In terms,
our other store in Katlehong, it's cleaned up.
The pharmacy in Katlehong, is that not the Naledi Mall pharmacy by any chance?
Is that the Samuntuli Mall?
Okay.
They looted last night.
And what impact then will this have on your specific job?
I mean, you can see this people that we work with. It means, for now, the ones that are in Semuntuli, they don't have a job. I mean, even if we can say we can claim from the insurance, how long is it going to take? We are not corporates. We don't have money lying somewhere. We're depending on the money that we make every day. So we don't have money to buy stock so that the stock can operate again. So it means it's going to take some time before we can get back on our feet.
Okay, thank you very much. The shop owner, the pharmacy owner of Tabong Good Health Pharmacy here, talking about the real life impact, Tumelo, of the situation. Jobs lost at another pharmacy in Vosloorus because of the sporadic looting that we've been seeing, the crime basically from the community, stealing. You can see inside even the pharmacy. It's wet, it's difficult to even come in, but luckily we heard the looting hadn't begun here, but the other pharmacy that the lady owns was cleaned out completely. So those employees there, they've lost their jobs up until a plan can be made. So that's the devastation of what we've been seeing going on. The economic impact, the livelihoods that are impacted, as you can see now, the employees trying to clean out this pharmacy, they themselves can't even be sure if they will still have a job at this particular pharmacy, because we don't know when it will open. We don't know if it will open or essentially what's going to happen, because you can rest assured the community members, the hundreds that we saw flock out here, are bound to come back to Melo, judging by what we've been seeing over the last number of days, and the cat and mouse that they've been playing with the South African Police Service. Even the advisor to the Premier, stating that they don't have the manpower, South African Police Service, to deal with this situation. I'm assuming that's the reasoning behind President Cyril Ramaphosa bringing in reinforcements from the South African National Defence Force. You can see now the cleaning out of this pharmacy by the employees who themselves don't have any job at this particular moment. Let's say for today, given that this shop is going to be closed indefinitely today as they try to clean out the medication now. Of course, it has a ripple effect as well, Tumelo. We're under a COVID-19 pandemic at the moment. People need medication, and of course it'll be difficult to access it. You can imagine those people on chronic conditions, difficult to access their medication. So it's really a ripple effect, the crime that we've been seeing in and around Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. As you can see, more people been taken to join the over 60 already that have been apprehended by the police. Going now, I'm assuming, to be taken to lie down there. The question that I'll have at this very moment is, how will they all be accommodated? I'm wondering how the police stations the cells even look like at this moment, as we have seen a number of arrests happening over the last number of days. Do they then let those people out, or really what happens on the ground? Maybe that's another question that needs to be looked into. All these people that are being arrested, what then happens to them? As we heard the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, stating that stern action and stern criminal offences need to be put in place so that people know what they're doing is wrong, and in fact has a ripple effect on people's livelihoods, not only economically, not only in the jobs, but we saw the pharmacy ransacked there. That will talk to even the health of the people that won't be able to access their medication. They join the over 60 here. I'm assuming now, Tumelo, it's around 100 people that are on the ground at this very moment.
Right. Colleague, I have to leave it there. I have to leave it there and move on to another unfortunate incident that's also taking place in Jabulani Mall, but quite disheartening to see, just workers trying to salvage whatever they can from a pharmacy meant to help a community during this pandemic, during this third wave, and speaks to what the President was talking about yesterday about medicine insecurity now being a potential threat. Aviwe Mtila, we leave it there.